Good morning, students. Today we will discuss the second chapter of 7th class history, that is New Kings and Kingdoms. When we discuss Indian history, we can divide it into three parts: ancient, medieval, and modern period. Basically, in New King and Kingdoms, we will discuss about the emergence of new dynasties. The second is administration in the kingdoms. The third is prashastis and land grants. The fourth is warfare for wealth. And last we will discuss about Cholas, a closer look to Cholas. At first we will see the classification of history. When I start the chapter, I told you like Indian history can be divided into three parts. So at first we will see the classification. Indian history, it can be classified into three parts. The one is ancient, medieval, and modern history. In ancient history, we can take the time period of from starting to 8th century. And medieval history can be divided into two parts: early medieval and later medieval. In early medieval, we can include the time period of from 8th century, from 8th to 13th. And in later medieval time period, we can include from 13th to 18th. And in modern time period, we can include the time period of from 18th to till now. So basically in this chapter, we will discuss about medieval time period. And in medieval time period, we will discuss about early medieval time period. When you look at the map, you can see many new dynasties emerged after the 7th century. This map shows the major ruling dynasties in different areas. For example, this area shows the area of Rashtrakutas. This is the area of Cholas, whereas in southern area of Tamil Nadu, Pandya dynasty was ruling. So this was the area of Pandyas, whereas this area of Kerala is the area of Cheras. The area of Bengal was being ruled by Palas. The whole area is termed as Bengal because at that time the Bengal was not divided, because Britishers came in modern time period, and after the arrival of Britishers, they divided Bengal into two territories: West Bengal into two areas, West Bengal and East Bengal. And before before the partition of Bengal, the whole territory was termed as Bengal. Here this is Indraprastha, that can be termed Delhi also, and this was ruled by Chahmans. Chahmans were also termed as Chauhans, and they were also ruling in Rajasthan. Basically in Rajasthan they were ruling over Ajmer. This is the area of Kanauj, and this was being ruled by Gehewal dynasty. So when we look this map, we can see different dynasties were ruling in that time period. That was the time period of from 7th century to 13th century, and they all have fluctuating frontiers. Why they all have had fluctuating frontiers? Actually, it was common for them to fight with one another because there was no supreme power that could administrate India. But from Harsha's death to the 12th century, India remained politically very weak. The dynasty of India was in the hands of kingdoms whose rulers were mostly at war with each other, and sometimes the areas were taken by other rulers, and at the other times the areas were taken by other rulers. That's why their frontier was not fixed and this was fluctuating. And at that time, the rulers took pride in military exploits because a struggle of supremacy was working on at that time. No central authority was there. In ancient time, we had Magadha Empire, which frightened the soldiers of Alexander's army so much that they refused to move further. But during the medieval period, there was no such central political power which could check Turkish invasions and Mongol invasions also. Although Rajputs were able to control the whole territory, although Rajputs had the capability to be the supreme power of India, but they usually remained busy in fighting among themselves. The frontier of India remained neglected, and the consequence of these political state of affairs proved very costly. And that's why at that time India became a prey for foreign invasions. For example, Muhammad Ghori invaded that time in India. Ghazni plundered 17 times India at that time. During the medieval time period, Ghazni plundered India. Tamur the Lame also plundered Delhi in 1398, which was also the time period of medieval time period, and various other invasions also, like Mughal Empire was also established during medieval century, because at that time in India there was no such central power, no central authority. At first, we will see the emergence of new dynasties. Many new dynasties emerged after the 7th century, as we have seen in map like Pandyas, Cholas, Cheras, Palas, Rashtrakutas, Geharwals, Parmars also. So many new dynasties were emerged at that time in Indian subcontinent. By the 7th century, there were big landlords or warrior chiefs in different regions of the subcontinent, and existing kings often acknowledged them as their subordinates or samantas, and generally samantas were expected to bring gift for their kings or lords, be present at their court and provide them military support if it is necessary. They, as samantas, gained power and wealth. They declared themselves to be Mahasamantas, Mahamandaleshwaras, and the kings also took various other titles like Tribhuvan Chakravarti and Maharaja Dhiraj. So at first we will see the titles which were taken by the Samantas at that time. And Mahamandaleshwaras. Mahamandaleshwara means the great lord of a circle or a region. Like when Samantas took the power and they became independent, they threw over their kings and they came in power. That's why new dynasties were emerged. We can take the example of Rashtrakutas. Rashtrakutas were ruling in Deccan area. Initially, they were subordinate to the Chalukyas of Karnataka. In the mid 8th century, Danti Durga, a Rashtrakoot chief who established a Rashtrakoot dynasty, overthrew his Chalukya overlord, that was Kirtivarman, and performed a ritual called Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha means golden bomb. When this ritual was performed with the help of Brahmins, it was thought to lead the rebirth of the sacrificer as a Kshatriya. If a person is not Kshatriya by birth and he performs Hiranyagarbha rituals, then it is considered that takes he has taken another birth as a Kshatriya, and now he can rule over the territory. And this ritual was followed by the Dati Durga. Rituals of Hiranyagarbha, it means golden womb, and if a person performs this ritual, it is considered he has taken birth as a Kshatriya if he is not by birth, and this was performed by Danti Durga. In other cases, men from enterprising families used their military skills to carve out kingdoms. For instance, the Kadamba Maurya Sharman and the Gurjar Pratihara Harish Chandra were Brahmins who gave up their traditional professions and took to arms and successfully establishing kingdoms in Karnataka and Rajasthan respectively. So we can say two kinds of strategies were being followed by the people, by the Samantas to be the kings. The one is they were following the ritual of Hiranyagarbha, and the second one is they were following military expeditions. This was performed by Kadamba Maurya Sharman and Harichandra, whereas this was performed by Danti Durga. So in our next video we will discuss about new kingdoms in India which were emerged during medieval time period, and after it we will discuss the time period of these kingdoms.